Okay, students, I hope you are well and healthy and ready to learn new things. So, my name is Palak Patel. I am working in the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari, in Civil Engineering Department. I am going to teach you the subject is Civil Engineering, Social and Global Impact. In this subject, we are going to learn Module 3, Infrastructure. So in the previous lecture, we covered all this content and as well as futuristic transportation. But in this lecture, we will cover futuristic vision of energy generation. Futuristic vision of energy generation. So let's start. We have so many futuristic vision, like we have improved on hydropower, solar power, wind power, geothermal energy, biomass energy, and not automatic is atomic energy. Sorry, is atomic energy. We have to improve on this. So first of all, we starting from hydropower, then solar, then wind, tidal, geothermal, biomass, and atomic. So how we generate the energy from the hydropower? We use a mechanical energy flowing water into electrical energy. Flowing water's mechanical energy convert into electrical energy. Is generated when force of falling water from dam or river or waterfall is generated when the force of falling water from dam and this force used to turn turbines. These force are used to turn turbine and drives generated that produce electricity. This turbine drives generator and produce electricity. Energy produced directed to the substation and electricity. That is a simple concept. We use flowing water energy. We use flowing water energy to run a turbine, and by the turbine, you rotate a generator, and generator produce electricity. You can see here. Here is a flowing water, and this is a rotated turbine, and this rotated turbine rotated generator, and this generator produce electricity. Right? Now advanced stages of hydropower. Hydropower is a renewable source of energy. Advantages: it is a renewable source of energy, cheaper as compared to electricity generated from coal, gas fire plant, avoiding pollution and emission. Capacity of quick starting and closing. Quick starting, just close a gate, your energy production will be shut down. Open the gate, energy production will be started. Solution of meeting peak load in the grids and protecting from flood and drought. Seasonal load curve of a regional grid match with the pattern of hydropower generation means summer or monsoon season generation of hydropower plant is high and load factor is high due to heavy agriculture load. These are the advantages of hydropower. Now we have some challenges. Challenges means highly capital investment. We require high capital for electricity generator and located in hilly area. So forest cover will be damaged. Forest land sometime unavoidable. Submerge of land. So by the submerge of land, flora and fauna will be destroyed and large scale displacement we have. And project meets mass protest. Mass protest for the environment and rehabilitation, resulting unusual delay. This protest resulting unusual delay. Then after hydropower potential in India. So India is around 1,45,000 megawatt hydro plant, but demand around 85,000 megawatt. Now India is suffered due to climate variability. Now we don't have a customized control system which improved turbine will be used in the future. We use old types of turbines Now hydropower has slowly going to fade it because of we are going to use solar power and wind power will be more. Now we have the top 7 hydropower project in India. First is Najpa Jakri, Srisalem, Nagarjun Sagar, Hirakund, Sardar Sarovar, and these are the top 7 hydropower projects in India. Solar power. We have to discuss about solar power. So Earth received 175 billion megawatt power at upper atmosphere as a result of solar radiation. But only 30% of solar radiation will be used, remaining will be reflected back. We will use only 30% solar radiation. We use only 30% solar radiation. And this heat and light radiation from the sun can be harnessed through the use of semiconductor solar panel, and solar radiation access electrons to the panel and lead the production of electrical energy. Now we have two types of solar technique. First is active and second one is passive. Active means using a direct solar energy to produce electricity. Passive means using indirect solar energy to produce heat and electricity. So active solar energy means we use photovoltaic system. We use direct sunlight to produce electricity, concentrated solar power and solar water heating. In this all three technology, we use direct solar energy to produce energy as well as heat. And passive technique, we use indirect solar energy to produce heat. Now we have one condition here, solar energy is not available at night. But we in the modern times we can use it in the night also via storage. Now photovoltaic. So what happened in the photovoltaic? We use solar panel to capture sunlight photon. We use solar panel to capture sunlight photon, and this solar panel is made by a solar cell. And this is the anti-reflecting coating, means solar energy will not reflect it. It will be captured as much light as possible. And there is a semiconductor sandwich between a negative conductor at top and positive conductor at bottom. Semiconductor, negative conductor at top and positive conductor on bottom. So this photon which will get captured by a solar cell, and this will photon release electron within a semiconductor, and this negative and positive conductor create the pathway for electrons. Electron current is created, and this electric current is sent a wire with capture a DC electricity. Solar inverter transfer DC current into AC current. First thing remember, solar energy produce DC electricity, direct current, but in our electric appliance we use electric current. So we require inverter, solar inverter, which transfer DC current to AC current. Here is the solar light which generate of positive charge, and this positive charge will output current. You can see here is a panel is generate electricity, and by this generator we can use solar energy. Now we have some application of photovoltaic. Photovoltaic first is a rooftop and building integration system. Concentrator photovoltaic thermal hybrid solar collector, solar farm, rural electrification, in transport, telecommunication and signaling, and spacecraft application. Discuss all this one by one. So rooftop building integration means using a solar panel on retrofitting, means on rooftop, and this rooftop structure will be generate capacity about 5 to 10 kilowatt electricity. Now concentrated photovoltaic. In concentrated photovoltaic, we use curved plate to concentrate electricity or concentrate solar power. You can see this will be heat of water, right? Now photovoltaic thermal hybrid solar collector. In this case, we have a solar cell on the upper side, and in the bottom we have a one pipeline which heat up of water. So by this we can generate electricity as well as boiling of water. That means reduce of water will be less. Can we generate a solar farm? You can see how maximum time of solar panel we can use for create a solar farm. Then after rural electrification. Rural electrification means many villages often more than 5 kilometers away from grid power are using photovoltaic. So that means on the rural area we can provide a rural electrification. Then after in transport means boat or cars we can use solar energy for the energy generation. Then after telecommunication signaling. In the usual local telephone exchange, radio and TV broadcasting, microwave or other form of electronic communication link, we can use solar panel. Imagine there is one satellite tower and this required router to run the electricity. But that time we produce electricity by a solar power and the router is running. Right? Spacecraft application. We use this spacecraft for the solar energy. It's a simple matter. Now advantages and disadvantages. So advantages is pollution free, operated for the 100 years, very less maintenance and can be used locally, very little research money compared to fossil and nuclear source. And disadvantages take a longer time to energy saving, lower capacity to harness sunlight and collect energy during sunlight hours. Now we have discussed about passive. Now we are going to discuss about passive solar energy. Use of solar energy as a passive way. So first technology is solar chimney. Solar chimney. So solar chimney, this technology is used for using a solar energy to heat up a house and cold, maintain a temperature in the house by this solar energy. If you want to temperature riser, we can use a simple mechanism will be changed. If you low temperature will require, there is a simple mechanism will be changed. So we discuss about this heating. First of all, we have to understand for the heating. Heating means increase a temperature, right? So first of all, we have to build a chimney. For the heating arises, there is the same method, just change in a simple minor mechanism. First, we have to build a chimney and color it by a black material. Color it by a matte black material. Then after, air inside the chimney is heated. Assume there is a color by a black material, black color. So black color absorb more energy, more heat. So air inside the chimney is heated. Air inside the chimney is heated. But that after, what happened? We close the chimney from the upper side. We close a chimney from the upper side. And after we close the chimney, what happened? The air inside the chimney, which is heated, which expand. The air is expand because it's heated. Different concept is here. Simple concept. If air is heated, it will expand. If air is cold, it will compress. Simple logic, simple science tech. That thing is here. If air is heated, means it expand, but top portion is closed. Chimney's top portion is closed, so it will back into the house. Heated, heated air is back into the house. This will be rise a temperature in the house. And after air cooled means it will compress. It will again in the chimney. So this thing is used for the maintain a heating, a temperature riser. Now second for the cooling. Same. Chimney is built, coated with a dark color and black color is absorb more heat. But we open a chimney from the top side and chimney's opposite side we provide one ventilation, one window. Air inside chimney is heated. Air inside chimney is heated, but top portion is open. So what happened? Heated chimney will be density will be low, so it will be go upward. Density low, so it will be go upward. At that time, if we go upward means chimney become vacuum. There is a space in the chimney because of air is raised out. Chimney is vacuum. So opposite side of the ventilator, air is fresh air will be come inside, and this is a cold temperature. So house temperature will be reduced. It's a solar chimney for maintain a temperature in the house. But look at here, why is passive? Why is passive? Why is passive? Because we use air as a medium. We use air as a medium. So solar energy will be used as a passive, as an indirect, right? Now we have a second one is and solar chimney power plant. Solar chimney power plant. It's a large scale power plant. You can see here is a large scale we have used, and there is a chimney we have, and we have a turbine in it. What happened? Air is heated, density is low, so it go upward, and when it go upward, it will rotate. Solar chimney power plant. Now wind power. Generator hurdles a kinetic energy in the wind. Two or three propeller-like blade around the rotor. Rotor is connected to main shaft, and main shaft spin with generator and create electricity. Simple. There is a two or three wings we have, and this is the rotate by a rotor. A rotor is connected with the main shaft with generator and create electricity. Simple mechanism for generating a wind power. Now we have advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: free and renewable resources, clean and non-polluting energy, relatively very little impact on environment. Advantages is so simple: it's renewable, non-polluting, and little impact on environment. But the disadvantages is expensive. Okay, wind are unpredictable and uncontrollable. You cannot predict it and you cannot control it. And good wind sites located on remote location. Remote location. Then after we have discussed about present state of future vision. Future vision for India. So India is the fifth position after USA, Germany, China and Spain to produce wind energy. But wind energy plants is located in Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Maharashtra. Only three states we have produce wind energy. So wind turbine manufacture association current installed capacity is 34 gigawatt. 34 gigawatt. So India would have add average 6,000 megawatt every year. 6,000 megawatt every year to meet the target. But additional only 2,000 megawatt we achieved. So this is the present status for the future in India. Now we have three parks. We have first is Jaisalmer. Jaisalmer located in onshore wind park. Onshore means at the ocean. Onshore means at the ocean, right? Jamanwada Wind Park, Asia's largest wind park, Jamanwada, located in the Kutch, Gujarat. Samana Wind Park, located in Samana, Jamnagar, Gujarat. These are the three important wind park. Now we have a Tamil Nadu maximum power generation capacity. Gujarat little bit smaller and Maharashtra little bit smaller, right? Then after we have using a tidal energy. Energy of ocean tides. Energy of ocean tides we are using to generate electricity. How we use movement of oceanic tides. As a celestial body means Earth, Sun and Moons, the ocean tides will be generated and we use this as electricity energy. So tidal is generated by using tidal barrage. Can be produced by using tidal barrage. Assume there is a construction we have, there is a one opening we have. Okay, in the opening we provide a turbine. At that time when tides come, imagine here is a tides come, the water level will be rise. Then after we close the gates, we close the gate. Then after when low tide will be occur, water level will be low and we open the gate and both the time we produce electricity. We produce electricity. Now types of tidal generator, we have a tidal stream generator. So in the first point, tidal barrage, we have to create one barrage. We have to construct one barrage. But in a steam generator, we don't have to require construct a barrage. We just put a turbine on the seashore. And by water flow, it will rotate and generate electricity. Just like produce a wind turbine. So advantages is a renewable energy source, clean energy, free and green energy, easy to maintain and low noise pollution. Tide occurs twice in a day, so we can produce energy by two times. Barrage provide protection against flooding and land damage. Create recreational lake and area. Create recreational lakes and area. So disadvantages, there is no constant flow of water. There is no constant flow. We can say only at twice in a day. We don't have a constant flow of water. Require suitable site. Require long underwater cables. Underwater cables with saline waters. With saline water which damage maximum. Generate powers only 10 hours in a day. And increase coastal erosion. Coastal erosion. Create silt, sediment and pollutants. Endanger to marine animals. These are the advantages and disadvantages of tidal energy. Now we are going to understand geothermal energy. Geothermal energy means using a heat from subsurface of earth. Using a heat from subsurface of earth. and this energy can be used for heating and cooling purpose, but we are learn how to produce electricity from it. So temperature at core metal boundary may be reached 4000 degrees Celsius. So we are using this for the produce electricity, right? We have three types of system. First, dry stream, flash plant and binary plant. These three method we can produce electricity from geothermal energy. So I can explain this here. So on the dry stream power plant, we use direct stream. We use a direct stream which produced from the interior of the crust, interior of the soil, and we use direct stream for the rotate turbine and rotate generator, and then after we produce electricity. It's a direct stream power plant. Now flash stream power plant, what happened? In a flash stream power plant, we feed a water inside it, inside the soil, and this will produce a steam will generated by this water, and this produce rotated turbine, and this will produce electricity, right? This was called flash steam power plant. In a direct steam, we use direct steam from the soil, and in the flash steam, we use different water for generate a steam. Now binary cycle power plant. In the binary cycle power plant, we use a direct stream, but there is a secondary material, secondary liquid, which will be heat up by this steam, which will be heat up by this steam, and this will generate own steam, and this rotate turbine, rotate a generator, and then after we produce electricity. It's called binary cycle power plant. Now advantages is cost effective, reliable, suitable and environment friendly. Considered to be renewable because earth interior will be always be heat up. Minimum land and fresh water required. Always available. Always available. But disadvantage is drilling and exploration of deep resources is very expensive. It's very expensive. And we have a limited area. We have a limited area where we found geothermal energy. Now fluid can be carry carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, methane and ammonia, which is from the deep earth. So this will be greenhouse gases will be increased. And toxic element mercury, arsenic, boron and antimony can be come out. Can be come out. These are the disadvantages. Now application, we use heating home and office building, generate electricity, growing plant in a greenhouses, geothermal hot water on the road and sidewalk to melt a snow. These are the application of geothermal energy. Now geothermal energy scenario in the world using 20 countries using geothermal energy. Geothermal energy, but United States is the largest producer of geothermal energy because United States have a location which is called Geyser, which is in the USA, and the California is the largest geothermal field. Largest geothermal field. But remember the country Iceland. Iceland produced 25% of energy from 5 geothermal power plant. Country produce 25% of its energy from 5 geothermal power plant. Now India is target generated 1000 megawatt geothermal energy in the first phase. In the first phase means we are going to develop geothermal energy in India first time by 2020. Now we have some location which we use for the geothermal power energy. First is Punga Valley, Jammu Kashmir. Chhattisgarh, Tatapani, Godavari Basin, Manikan, Himachal Pradesh, here, Godavari Basin. Then after Barkeswar, yeah, Barkeswar, West Bengal, here, Barkeswar. Tua, Gujarat, Tua, here. Unai, Maharashtra, here. Jaglon, Maharashtra, same here. So these are the locations we can use as a geothermal energy, right? Thermal energy. Geothermal energy is different. Thermal energy is different. Thermal energy means energy that come from the heated substance. Means energy that come from the any heated substance is called thermal energy. Thermal energy measured in joule. Now thermal energy is heated substance means we have to transfer a heat. So transfer a heat by three ways. Okay. Now by the thermal energy we use in a steam power plant. We use thermal energy in a steam power plant. How? We use a burning fuel, coal and heavy oil and LNG. We use this type of material as a fuel. As a fuel. We burn them and after burning they produce a heat, create a high temperature and high pressure steam, because this heat will be transferred at the boiler. In the boiler we generate a steam and steam used to turn turbine and turbine produce electricity. Okay, this is called thermal power plant using coal, oil or LNG. Now Indian scenario, there is a worst part of the India is 88% of thermal power contained from the diesel and gas obtained from the coal. 8% obtained from the coal, and 65% India electricity generated capacity come from the thermal power plant. 65% depend on the coal or energy generation. Coal based power generated capacity which currently stand 1909 gigawatt is expected to reach 330441 gigawatt by 2040. India have a 10 biggest thermal power station. India have a 10 biggest thermal power station, which is 5 operated and owned by a state and another 5 by private entities. Right? Now scenario in the world. Water provision for the future. We have to discuss about water provision for the future scenario in the world. There is available freshwater resources will certainly decrease in the coming year due to increased demand of the growing population. Means population will be increased, water demand will be increased. So here is the next topic will be start, which is water purification. So by 2030, 30 to 40% of the world we have water scarcity. By 2020, 30 to 40% of the world will have a water scarcity. Now in the UN Studio projected 30 nations will be water scarce in 2025. 30 nations, 30 nations. These are the report in the future. Now scenario in India. Water demand will be 1.5 trillion cubic meter by 2030. By 2030. And currently is 70-40 billion cubic meter. We cannot achieve this type of phenomena. We cannot fulfill this requirement. 70-40 billion cubic meter, we not fulfill this requirement. So in the future is 1.5 trillion. How we reach then? How we fulfill this? Now water crisis is defect by a lack of government planning, increased corporate privatization, industrial and human waste and government corruption. This will be increased a water crisis. And India has only 4% of water renewable water resources. India about 20 river basins. Now because of the increased demand for domestic, industrial and agriculture use, most river basins are stressed. Most river basins are polluted. Now we have some government initiative which used for the government conservation. First is the Manrega, second Jal Shakti Abhiyan, and Sujalam Suflam Jalsayam Abhiyan 2018 by Gujarat. We have discussed this all three initiative for the water. First of all is Manrega. Manrega full form is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Environment Guarantee Act. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee. This will be aimed to improve groundwater harvesting and build water conservation and strong mechanism through Manrega. Second one is Jal Shakti Abhiyan. Jal Shakti Abhiyan is a water conservation. It's launched in July 2019 by Government of India. Focus on only 256 districts of the country. Focus on only 256 districts of the country which have lowest available groundwater. Which have lowest available groundwater. And in this district, we have to mobilize farmer through Krishi Vigyan Kendra and urge them to serve efficient irrigation practices. We are giving the detail to the farmer in this 256 district about irrigation practices, new irrigation practices. Almost 89% of water used in irrigation in our country, and we have to focus on the rainwater harvesting and reuse water for industry and agriculture use. Grey water and black water can be used in industry as well as agriculture. So grey water is from the kitchen and black water is from sewerage. So we can use this both energy for the in the agriculture and industry. Now Sujalam Suflam Jal Shakti Abhiyan 2000 Jal Sanchay Abhiyan 2080 Gujarat, and it is aimed to increase the storage capacity of existing reservoir. Increase the storage capacity of existing reservoir, and this will be desilting a check dams, deeping the ponds, lake and river beds. An initiative is 59th Foundation Day of Gujarat. Initiated on 59th Foundation Day of Gujarat. There is a simple question I ask. If we increase the storage capacity of existing reservoir, what happen? Maximum water will be stored and maximum water will be seepage at water table. So water table will be rise. It's called Sujalam Sufalam Jal Sanchay Abhiyan 2080 in Gujarat. Now water conservation strategy, we have rainwater harvesting, renovation of traditional water bodies and tanks, reuse of water and recharge structure, watershed development, initiative afforestation, use of modern irrigation methods. Discuss all this in details how to conserve of water. First of all, rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting means simple, collecting rainwater and storing it. Collecting rainwater and storing it. It will avoid flooding, increase groundwater level, increase water supply, increase water demand, reduce water contamination. If we store a rainwater, it's called rainwater harvesting. Now we have some method for the rainwater harvesting. First is percolation, culvert plugging, roof water storage, check dam and field pond. First is a percolation tank. Simple. Rain will be occur, then water will be stored here. It will be transferred at percolation collection tank. This tank will be underground tank and diverse into some abundant well. So we can store this water or we can divert it at some well, abundant well. Then after we can use a check dam. If we store water, water will percolate at bottom side and it will increase the water table. is called checked. Field pond. Field pond means a dug one pit at a corner of a field, and this field will store a water, and this water will percolate into the ground and increase the groundwater table. After percolation tank, assume there is a rainwater is collected in this tank, and this tank is some holes in there. Some holes in there. At a time, the rainwater will be percolate on the underground. Right? Now renovation of traditional water body and tanks. So water body, the structure where water from ice melt, streams, spring, rain and drainage and water from the residential area is called water body. Water is stored by diversion from the stream or river is called water body. So we have some traditional name for the water body. Maharashtra, in the Maharashtra we call it Bandras. Northwestern Maharashtra we call Fard irrigation. Rajasthan we called Khadis and Bolis. Gujarat we called Vav and Vavdi. Bihar we called Ahar and Paranis. West Bengal we called Dung and Jumpolis. Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir we called Jink. Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir we called Jink. Now we have some method to revive and restore rehabilitation of traditional water bodies and repair innovation and restoration 2050 launched by Indian government. These are the once again initiative. Both are the use for the renovation of traditional water body and tanks. Now reduce water and recharge structure. Reuse of water and recharge structure. So demand of water has increased in cities due to increased urbanization. There is no provision for wastewater treatment in many big towns and cities in various countries of the world. Such conditions visible in Delhi and Agra. So we have to focus on this concept and use of water and recharge structures. Now watershed management we can use implies conservation and development of land, rainfall, water and vegetation, resource of area of maximum benefit of the people to make productive use of all natural resources and protect natural resources. It's called watershed management. Now objective of watershed management, we have a conserving soil and water, growing greenery, to control desertification, to mitigate adverse effect of drought, improve ability of land and water, encourage restoration and ecological balance, to promote economic development of village community. To promote economic development of village community is called watershed management. Now various components of watershed development. First is water management, soil and land management, human resource development, afforestation, crop management, livestock management and rural energy management. These are the various components of watershed development. So first of all we have to understand water management. Water management means method for the water conservation, means reservoir management, reduce conveyance losses by proper lining canal, application of right amount of water to land to meet the water required of crop, construction of small check dams across the tributaries of riser, increase the groundwater storage. New techniques should be developed for the sewage disposal to reduce water consumption. Reduce water consumption. Right? Now soil and land management. Soil erosion can be decreased by intercepting the erosion power of rain and wind with vegetation cover. The agricultural land should be properly leveled so soil erosion can be reduced. Deep plugging by tractor for the many effective rainwater to get maximum yield with optimum supply of water. Earthbirds should be constructed around the farm to retain water and reduce runoff. Is called soil and land management. Then after human resource management means we have some training to enhance their technical, social and managerial capacity. Afforestation means tree plantation in a wasteland, restrict area must be carried out. Then crop management, crop restoration will be practiced to maintain the fertility of land, obtaining maximum yield with maximum supply of water. Now, intensive afforestation means we are using a tree plantation on a riverside and tank, okay, which will increase a forest cover, and as well as this plantation will be behave as a levee, means embankment. As use of modern irrigation method means we can use a drop irrigation or sprinkle irrigation. This method will be save 50 percentage of water. Conserving water in industry means 23% of waste water available on the earth is used by industry. 23%. Imagine. So we have to reuse it on the industry, right? Now, imagine there is a manufacture of 1 ton of steel. We use 300 tons of water. We use 300 tons of water. Now, I give some practice question for you. Define active solar techniques and passive solar techniques. Write the advantages and disadvantages of tidal energy. Explain geothermal energy. Write the Indian government initiative for the water conservation. Fourth question, you can write it down in your notebooks, right? So our lecture is completed here. So wait for the next lecture. Till then, take care.